If you're a person, then you've probably had the issue of not knowing what to talk about with someone. Maybe it's someone you just met or someone you've known for a very long time. Everyone's experienced that moment of thinking, oh, what do I say? My mind is completely blank on conversation topics. And if you're trying to have a conversation with someone in another language, that's even more common. I have a suggestion that might help you solve that and provide some other language learning benefits. Play games. I'm not talking about video games, but those would work too if you're into them. Today, I'm talking about board games. If the word board game sparks the idea of 3-hour Monopoly or Risk, don't click off the video yet. Board gaming has exploded in the last few decades. There are more game designers than ever, and the games are significantly more engaging and fun. You don't always need 4 players and 5 spare hours. There are all sorts of games for any number of players. And it's the perfect medium for language learning, and even more perfect for crosstalk, which you can learn about here. The context games provide make them great for learning, since if you know the rules, you're barely gonna get lost. Now, you might be thinking, that sounds great, I'd love to, but Ben, you're forgetting one key fact. I live about 5,000 miles away from the nearest speaker of my target language. I can't just invite them over for pizza and board games, and that's very true, but that's exactly why I'm making this video. Board Game Arena is a website that has hundreds of games that you can play in browser with anyone, anywhere in the world. They even have a ton of games that you can play today totally for free, and there are thousands of people playing at any given time. It's really pretty amazing. Right now, I can see that there are almost 14,000 people online and almost 11,000 people in-game as I'm recording this. And that's not all that's amazing. The site and community are very dedicated to translating the site to support as many languages as possible. If I go into a game here, I can see that it has written rules in English, Spanish, French, Japanese, German, French again, Russian, Italian, Polish, Hungarian, Portuguese, Japanese again, Dutch, Slovak, and Chinese. And for video rules, there are 12 pages with 4 videos each. I see English, Spanish, French, Japanese, Korean, Portuguese, Chinese, Russian, Polish. You get the idea. While the languages supported definitely skew towards certain popular languages, there are quite a few options. And that's just for the rules. You can play in whatever language you want. And the interface has tons of options too. Although, to avoid confusion, I'd recommend you keep the interface in a language you're very comfortable with. The true learning comes from the people you interact with and the conversations you have. Let's go through the process of creating an account, the basics of the interface, and how you can start playing. Start by going to boardgamearena.com and click Start Playing Now. Then you'll put in a username, email, and password. Or go the easy route and log in with Google. Then you'll be dropped into the lobby. You should verify your email address before going much further, since certain features will be locked till then. Once you've done that, go into the Play Now tab at the top of the screen. It'll open a simple tutorial for you to follow. I'll click through that right now. And there are tons of games available. But many of them are premium games, which require you to have a subscription of about $5 per month. The nice thing is that you can invite any number of friends to play those games with you without them having to pay, so you could split the cost with a bunch of friends if you wanted. But honestly, there are a ton of amazing games available for free. If we go up to the Games tab, we'll be able to see everything. Anything without the little gold star is a free game. Let's do some filtering. I want to see some games for 2 people that don't take too long, are made for casual gamers, and have won awards. Oh, let's also make sure there's a tutorial so I can learn how to play. Out of those 12 results, there are 7 games I can play for free. You may even see more if they've added more games since I've recorded this. But Q-Birds looks cute, let's try that. Here I can see everything about the game and, more importantly, the rules. In a bunch of different languages, no less. Let's stick to English for now. Actually, you know what? Let's watch the video. I don't want to read. Alright, I think I got the gist. I want more birds than the other players, but it's not super clear. I could watch a game in progress if I wanted. There are, oh wow, over 800 games going on right now. Or I could just start a game and see what happens. The beauty of playing games online is that the computer will handle all the complicated actions, so you can just click around and see what happens. Learn by doing. And here is where I can invite other players. For now, I'm just going to send an invite to my phone, which is a good time to mention that you can play on practically any device. Let me just send that link to myself. And there we go. I'm now on a table with my other account. And so I just hit start. Now, I'm not going to make you watch me play Q-Birds against myself. Instead, let's talk about a few ways to find other people to play with, which is probably the hardest part of all this. Like I mentioned, games are perfect for crosstalk, which means they're perfect for people only a few months into the learning process. But you will need a way to find people, however. For that, you can try services like Tandem or HelloTalk. Please be careful with these sites though. Many people treat them like dating sites. I would recommend writing up one succinct message that you can copy and paste and send to a bunch of people and see who responds. I'll put an example down in the description. Another good way, if you want your search time to be as low as possible, is to go into a paid service like italki. Watch the videos of some tutors on there, find someone who seems interesting and interested, and send them a quick message to see if they're willing to play games while talking to you in their native language. And obviously, if you already have friends who speak your target language, ask them. It's a lot more fun to play with people who you already know. And lastly, check out the Refold Discord servers. There are quite a few people in there who speak various languages and might want to play games with you, or at the very least, they'll almost certainly have tips on where you can find native speakers to make friends with. Now, you're logged in, you found someone to play with, but what do you play? That's another tough question. So, to get you started, I'll list a few that I think are great, especially for language learning. But if you want more suggestions, go search up some game reviews in your target language. It's just more immersion time. I think some of the best games for language learning are co-op games, because they force you to communicate since you really need to understand what's going on in order to succeed. For a free co-op game, try Burgle Bros. It's a super intense heist game where you and your crew need to rob a bank. Highly recommend. And in the paid games, Forbidden Island is a classic, where you and your party need to get the treasure from an island and escape before it goes completely underwater. But other styles of games are great too. Skull is a fantastic bluffing game, which would make for some great language learning experiences. You need to hide your skull from the other players while trying to find out where theirs is. And one final paid game, which is one of my favorites, is 7 Wonders, or 7 Wonders Duel. It's a bit more complex than the other games I mentioned, but you compete against other players to build the best ancient city with the most wonders and resources. It's really a lot of fun. And in order not to make this video even longer, I'm gonna wrap things up here. I really do think that playing games in your target language is an amazing way to build up your abilities in a way that makes the hours just fly by. The context they provide allows you to make connections with people without really needing to think of topics of conversation, and lets you understand the language more easily, which is very rewarding. Give it a shot and let me know how it goes. I'll read everything. If you liked this video and found it useful, share it with some of your friends and get them playing games too. Have fun out there, and as always, happy immersing.